Carolyn B. Thompson is exciting, dynamic, enthusiastic, inspirational, fast-paced, fun, and her highly interactive style leads people to take action. In addition to having fun with Carolyn as your facilitator and speaker, you'll go back to work with real skills you can immediately apply in your job. Carolyn has written or been the subject of hundreds of articles and books. A few highlights: Inc. Magazine, Association Management, Working Woman, Redbook, Business Week, Home Office Computing, Straight Talk for Employers, the audio tape set, with 30 5-minute topics on recruiting, inspiring, training, and retaining great employees. The book, Creating Highly Interactive Training Quickly and Effectively. And of course, she's writing more. Come, have fun, and learn with Carolyn B. Thompson.
Everybody in this room is a positive person, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
And even when I say that and people don't respond because they have the same problem as you had this morning, it was too early and they just couldn't deal with that. Even then, I watched you all come into this room, so I know that everybody who came here today is positive. How do I know this? When you walked into the room today, no one walked in like this. What's this? I had a chip on my shoulder that's so big, I can't stand upright. Everyone walked in the room standing straight up, looking lovely. We are all positive people. That's contrasted with the negative people. Sometimes we feel negative, but we're not negative people. Negative people, those are the ones that aren't having a bad day, they're having a bad life. Everything is bad to them. It's a beautiful sunny day outside, and they're the ones that say, well, of course, because I'm in a room in the basement with no windows. It's a beautiful, beautiful life that they're having, and all they can say are all the things that are wrong, as opposed to picking on any of the things that are good. Now, even as positive people, things happen to us that cause us to feel less than positive, right? Like what? What kinds of things take the positive people that we are and turn us into not so positive feeling? Anybody? What kind of things? Traffic. You must have been on the same road as me this morning. And I live in Chicago, and it still makes me nuts. Traffic causes my positive attitude to not be quite so. What else? Telemarketers, yes. I changed my home telephone number so that I don't get those telemarketers anymore. What else? Rejection, yes. And it doesn't have to be a huge rejection, you know, like I didn't get into medical school or something. It can just be somebody not wanting to speak to me. What else? Other things.
Rock music.
Rock music, yes. Okay. What else? I have $100 for anybody else who will tell me. I know this looks like a pencil, but it's $100. The Chicago Bulls make you to have less than a positive attitude. Anything else? Other reasons. Other reasons we have less than a positive attitude. Repetition. Like I have to do the same thing again and again and again. And some people say to me, I didn't feel good that day. You know, I had a stomach ache, I had a headache, my kids were making me nuts that day, my boss said this to me, I didn't get everything done I wanted to do. I mean, we could go on and on and on and on. Now, we know as positive people, we know that, like Rosita Perez says, don't sweat the small stuff. It's all small stuff. We know that in our hearts. We know the famous Charles Swindoll piece, which ends with the, who knows it? It's 90% what happens to us. I'm sorry, it's 90%. It's 90% what we perceive and only 10% of what happens to us. It's all about how we feel about that. And of course, there's the famous Carolyn Thompson quote, in the scheme of world peace, how important is this thing that we're dealing with? I used to work on the second floor downtown in Chicago. That's very, very close to the street. And I would look out the window. I was a director of human resources, and there were all kinds of nutsy things that were happening to me, as you know, being a director of human resources. The phone rang constantly. People were in my office all the time. And what I had to do sometimes was literally turn around and look out the window. And I would see people walking down the street. They were drinking coffee, they were carrying their briefcases, they were talking with a colleague, they were walking down the street, they were all doing normal things. They were having normal things happening to them. And I was able, by looking at them, to think, Carolyn, in the scheme of world peace, how important is this thing that's tying you up in knots and causing you not to be able to speak appropriately to the rest of the people in the room? We can surround ourselves with posters. I've had many dreadful experiences in my life, and most of them have never happened. You can either complain that rose bushes have thorns, or rejoice that thorn bushes have roses. But in the heat of the moment, when the boss is yelling at you, when you're listening to the rock music, when you have to do that thing over and over again, when the Chicago Bulls, when you are in that traffic, how many of us have the presence of mind to say, you can either complain that rose bushes have thorns or rejoice, not me. When I am in that, I don't have the presence of mind to say, it's 10% what happens to me and 90% how I perceive it. I just don't have that. So most of us think the people who have that have like a magic wand. It's magic, these people who are able to just walk through life, or else they're totally oblivious or not even thinking, you know?
That's usual.
That's usual, yes. What those people know that we don't is that we have something inside ourselves that we can build up, that we can make stronger, so that all of those things that happen to us don't get to us. The Charles Swindoll quote isn't just something you say. You have to do something so that most of it is perception, and our perception is more positive. Inside our brains, we have a positive outlook muscle, and we have to build it up. And I have a variety of exercises that we can do every single day, and we can build that up. Now, thinking about this as an exercise, let's say that you want to build that muscle up. Are you going to be able to build it up with my beautiful posters? Are you going to be able to build it up by saying, don't sweat the small stuff, it's all small stuff? If I wanted a bigger muscle in my arm, would I be able to look at my arm and say, get bigger? Of course not. We know that we have to lift weights, we have to do push-ups, we have to do something to exercise this muscle. Same with our positive outlook muscle. So we're going to try one of those positive outlook exercises today. Ready? Ever had that situation where something really negative happens to you? Let's say you lost a job. Anybody here ever lost a job? Something, I mean, this is big negative. This isn't the Chicago Bulls. This is big negative. A week later, a month later, maybe a year, maybe longer, didn't it occur to you that something good came from that? We've all had that experience. Oh my gosh, am I glad this happened to me, because I would never have met this person. I had no idea what a bad situation I was in, etc. Why wait? Why do you want to wait for 3 months or 6 months or a year to finally feel good? If you had a positive outlook muscle built up, you would think the positive thing earlier in the process. So here's an exercise that will help us with that. It's actually called a positive outlook build-up. You're going to think of a sentence, and I'll give you a couple to practice on. You're going to think of a sentence, and then our immediate thought, even if we have to lie to ourselves, it's the only time I'm going to ask you to lie, our immediate thought is going to be the positive thing. All right? Example. Let's try a coworker quits in the middle of an extremely busy time. This is the best thing that has ever happened to you. You are thrilled. You have been waiting your entire life for this. What is great about this? Anybody? Coworker quits. You can do it faster and better yourself. Yes. What else? I don't have to put up with that old complainer. They complained all the way through it. Any other reasons? What else?
I'll find someone better.
I can finally find someone better. And that foolish Carolyn, the director of human resources, won't stop me because they left on their own volition. Okay, let's try another one. The boss calls you into his or her office to tell you about something that you didn't do correctly. Yes, I have always dreamed of this moment, to be reamed out in the office of the boss. What is wonderful about this? Anybody?
Next time I can do it better.
Yes, I actually have learned something here. What else?
I got noticed.
I got noticed, you know. This boy has never even noticed that I worked for him or her. What else?
I can tell her to take this job, Ann.
I can tell her to take this job, Ann. Anything else that's going to happen to you in that boss's office? This is great. What else? Some people say to me, you know, after I hear about what it is I've done inappropriately, I can then go and fix it, and then I get a raise. You see how positive this can be. Getting reamed up by the boss gets you a raise. How bad can this be? Okay, last one. On the way home from work, you get an fender bender. All right. What is great about this? New car. What else?
New paint job.
New paint job. I needed that anyway, didn't I? What else?
Meet somebody nice.
Meet somebody nice. What does that policeman look like? Woo. You guys ever seen the Cosby Show? Remember the one where he had teenagers and little kids, and eventually they had to turn the show off because once they were older, nobody wanted to watch the older kids. When Theo gets his driver's license, first day he gets his driver's license, and he gets in a fender bender with, did you ever see that one?
Must be a pretty girl.
Stevie Wonder. He comes home, and you could imagine how his father felt about this until he said it was Stevie Wonder, and the last scene of the show is the whole family singing in the recording studio with Stevie Wonder. Stevie Wonder was driving is certainly a problem, but it was his chauffeur. What do we do with this exercise? Every single day, we can either practice the 3 that I gave you, or I know some people who, on their way home from work, trying not to get an fender bender, on their way home from work, think about something that happened to them during the day that was less than positive. It wasn't their favorite thing. And they pretend, make up stories, lie to themselves if they have to. They come up with what was great about this. Now, what happens from this is that over the course of time, eventually that positive thing will actually come sooner to you. I mean, in reality, it won't be a pretend anymore. It won't be making it up anymore. This actually happened to me once. It's not like any of us in this room as speakers say things to you that we don't believe. We do, but you don't always get to see it so graphically. One day, I lost my wallet, and I thought that it was stolen. And I immediately retraced my steps to find the wallet, and I did. Why? Why did I immediately retrace my steps? Because no lie, my first thought when I discovered that wallet was gone was, thank you, God, that I left my driver's license at home. Which I had been beating myself up for the entire day, I have to tell you. That was a stupid thing to leave your driver's license at home when you were on the way to the airport. It makes it tough to get on a plane, okay? But if you lose your driver's license, it takes, you have to take off at lunch and you have to go stand in that big long line, and I loved my other picture, and now they're gonna tell me I weigh more, and I don't wanna get this new thing, you know, so this was a great thing to me. It was my first thought. My second thought, no lie, was, this stuff really works. This is great. I was able to take action. I spent no seconds standing at my car going, oh my gosh, how am I going to get my car to the parking lot? Oh no, what am I going to do? I immediately started walking, and I was able to get the wallet back because of that. Because no one had taken it, I had actually just left it at the ATM machine. If we want to maintain positive all the time, we need to practice these exercises every single day. Thank you.